I'm Edward Warfield. I'm the publisher of Citybiz. I'm honored today to interview Fernando Mendez, the CEO of Audience.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I'm very excited.
So tell me, prior to founding Audience, you worked at McKinsey and Company and Wolfenson and Iberium Systems. Can you provide some highlights of your career prior to starting Audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said it, I started my career in consulting with McKinsey. They hired me. I'm from Venezuela, so they hired me in Caracas, but they got me travel all over the place. So it was just a fantastic experience. And then I was in Hong Kong when I quit McKinsey and started more into the internet startup path. So I started a new company called MyWeb. So we launched web TV services in Latin America. And then after that, I did a Linux-based consultancy in Brazil. And then in 2005, I landed here in Seattle, and then I started Audience in 2008.
So yeah, tell us about 2008. You started Audience Marketing. Can you tell us about the launch, your vision for it, and really provide some highlights over the last 12 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So the name Audience, in a way, reflects the vision, which is audience-based B2B, right? So at the time, perhaps now it's difficult to visualize, but at the time, B2B was all about products, right? So you would talk to teams, particularly in technology, and they always were looking at marketing products and features and performance and so on and so forth. And then the opportunity that I saw is focusing on the audience and then bringing the perspective of the audience. What are the benefits for the audience? Who are you trying to really reach? How is your product being sold, right? So that's what inspired, and that was really the vision for the company early on.
And yeah, what are some of the key highlights over the last 12 years? In terms of-
Oh my God, it has been a wild ride, a very exciting ride. And I'll say I think for me, the common theme is looking at, what's going on, what are kind of the big trends and big waves that impact our lives. And then when I did my MBA in 96, and then in the midst of the internet boom, and I saw the transformational power of that. And then, 20 something years later, I was very lucky to participate in the cloud boom. It's a more silent boom, but it's dramatic. It's a tectonic shift. But back to your question. So at the beginning, obviously, we were a bunch of scrappy, people doing gigs here and there. But then over, I'll say maybe the first 5 years, at that point, we decided that's where we really started to grow relatively quickly. We saw, I think, with the emergence of the cloud and things like Azure and AWS, that really took a wild ride. We went into like higher gear, and then we started to grow really fast. Where we are today, where we're growing between 50 and 60% every year, and again, it's just because of the cloud boom. So cloud is expected to reach $500 billion in 2023, and then growing at 22% per year. It's a gigantic boom.
And can you give us sort of a dashboard of where Audience is today in terms of clients, your footprint, employees, sort of some significant partners?
Absolutely. So we are cloud experts. So we are working with the leaders in the industry: Microsoft, AWS, and Google. And when we have, I'll say, another 10 to 15 relatively smaller clients. So our specialty really is cloud go-to-market. And then, so we're right now with 80 consultants and marketers. And then, but now we're part of the channel company. So around 250 employees. So that essentially allows us to provide more services and resources to our clients, and then a larger footprint geographically.
So let's talk a little bit about, you had an exciting January. You had a Christmas present that came a little bit late. Can you tell us about the channel acquisition in January? Can you tell us about the company?
That was so much fun. One thing about this industry is size matters dramatically. So perception of size, access to larger deals. So these are multi-million dollar deals that require you to show up and then have presence geographically, right? So So we were, and then on the other hand, it's a slow moving in that capturing new clients typically takes a year or so. So the channel company is the perfect partner for us because again, it allows us to have that size, that presence, and then they access to 800 clients, right? So then they approach us. Actually, it's funny because they approached us before COVID, and we started the conversations, and then COVID hit, and then actually our business took, go went, really, we went through a very high growth period during COVID. It's tough to celebrate when people are dying and then losing their jobs, but the what happened, as you know, is COVID really fueled a growth in cloud and anything that has to do with virtual technologies. And as a consequence, our business also went through a very high growth era. So then we re-engaged with the channel company around, I'll say September, and then we hammer all of the details of the transaction until the close in December 31st.
And what are the benefits? What are the strategic benefits other than scale?
Oh my God, we have expanded services. They own CRN, which is the leading channel news outlet in the US. So they have a series of events. Events are critical in our industry, even though obviously with COVID that is, I'll say, transforming, but still it's an industry that relies significantly on events. So they have this very robust events business. They also have a services business that has been growing. So for my clients, it's just more resources and then expertise in the cloud, expertise in channel B2B. B2B, people don't know, but B2B is actually larger than B2C from a marketing point of view. It's just that it's not as sexy or as visible as because you don't see it on the news all the time, but it's a gigantic industry. So the expertise in B2B is fantastic, and we saw it as an opportunity to essentially create a powerhouse in B2B, in channel B2B, in cloud B2B. So, and I think that we are really we have a unique opportunity to achieve that vision.
And one of your areas of expertise is account-based marketing and that strategy. Can you explain it and how you guys are involved in implementing that?
Absolutely. So it's very interesting to see the evolution of the selling motions in B2B, right? Where people traditional had been very skeptical on digital. So B2B particularly was a bit slow in adopting digital marketing practices. But then we saw a shift about, I will say, a good 6 to 8 years ago. And then we started doing multiple pilots, if you will. And that's where we got into ABM. So ABM is just fantastic because it's the equivalent of the typical digital, but when instead of sending like a broad scale messages and engagement model, you actually are more targeted. You in these days, by the way, we call it hyper targeting, which is you come up with the precise solution for the person that you're trying to reach with amazing results. And then the very interesting turn happened with COVID, where things like person-to-person events stopped, right? So in other words, there were multiple players in the industry that were still testing B2B technologies, whereas now it has become mainstream. So we are seeing a significant demand for our services because now people are seeing the results on B2B digital marketing. So some of the projects that we are executing right now have 21x ROI, which is just dramatic, right? So that has been the other issue in the industry, lack of metrics, difficulty in measuring ROI. We now can do it. So now we have the technologies. The technology stacks are robust enough that now we can really track ROI on B2B marketing, which is I just think that we are in the right place at the right time. We're starting to see, again, it's not as dramatic and as aggressive as what happened during the .com era, but but the cloud is just as transformative.
And so, are there any case studies that you'd like to share with one of your clients?
Yeah, so we again recently we've been working with webinar-led demand generation. So back to the notion of the transition from in-person to digital. So one model that we finally found. So we've been testing different models for digital marketing, and webinars have become really the winner. So where you gather people among with a common interest. It could be security, or it could be AI. So and then what we do is we invite a speaker, we invite multiple partners, and then deliver a live webinar. And we treat that event as a lead generation effort, right? So, and the results have been just dramatic with one of our clients. So we're at the point where we're running around 15 webinars per month. So we have a webinar lead generation machine that is working just fantastically. And then maybe a second example is we help create a cloud partner program for one of the largest, the leading clouds in the market. And then it was fantastic to see that program grow from around 23 partners to more than 800 partners worldwide. And then we managed that program for over 3 years. It's very rewarding to participate in an industry that is transforming lives, and it's growing. It's thriving, right? And then, but at the same time, being able to have an impact on these gigantic players, right? So it's extremely rewarding.
And so, what is the future of B2B marketing?
Digital. So I think that everything it's just unbelievable. I feel like we're living in science fiction times, right? So cars that drive themselves, machine learning here, and so I think that digital is here to stay. And I think that machine learning is going to have a transformative power on how marketing is being done today. So, but I still believe in in-person events. So I love to get together in person. I'm a relationships person, so I think that I hope that part doesn't go away, but complemented and augmented and accelerating through digital. One thing that I always tell people is the speed of business, right? So with the internet, with all of these technologies, the speed of business is now in hyperdrive. It's things that changes that would take prior to the internet, I don't know, months to do. It's now is weeks, or years are months, right? So things are going so fast. And then with that, again, adopting digital technologies is not it's table stakes. You have to do it. You have to be efficient. You have to be fast. And then also something that I learned over the years is the value of culture. So instead of I come from the McKinsey world where you have like the tops-down strategy. This is where we're going. And then that I think worked really well when business was at a slower pace. But in the pace that we're in today, it's more about equipping and enabling every individual to make decisions, to take initiative, and then push it forward, right? So it's more around a culture of opportunity rather than a culture of strategy.
So are there any B2B tools that are on your radar that should be on our radar? Anything new out there?
To me, it's more around how to use LinkedIn, for instance, is just fantastic. So LinkedIn and all of the ecosystem around LinkedIn is just unbelievable. That's where we always start, and then anyway, there are multiple CRMs. I don't want to name any specific ones, but the ability now to connect CRMs with LinkedIn, with technologies like Marketo. Marketo is it's actually becoming one of the leading platforms for lead generation, and then Aprimo is something that we have used for channel marketing because it enables you two-tier campaign executions. So I think the tools that we really rely on are, as I was saying, LinkedIn. There are multiple other complementary platforms like outreach for specific engagement campaigns. But so yeah, I think that again, right now we have a menu of options to choose from to automate and then accelerate. In B2B, the key value that we provide is acceleration. So if something typically takes 6 months to close, our value proposition is we help you cut that in half, right? By talking, having the right messages to the right people. And then the platforms go along with that. There are many platforms that you can choose from.
So, on a final note, prior to this interview, you mentioned your other careers. So, can you tell us a little bit about your classical guitar? And is there anything on YouTube, or can we see you live in Seattle?
So that has been my passion since I'm 9. I started playing guitar since I'm 9. I love classical guitar, and then the way these days is not only about the playing of the guitar, but also I'm collecting them. Uh, in these crazy times, you need your peace moments. And then every day I try to start my day with my guitar. That to me is my meditation. I think every one of us we need that, peace time. Otherwise, it's tough because there is a lot going on, right? And then I'm from Latin America, so I love Latin American music, music from Venezuela, music from Brazil, from Paraguay. So I just love it. It's something that I see it also challenging myself because I like to play the difficult stuff. So I can spend 3 months or even more trying to play a single song, but that's how I like it. Difficult, challenging.
Well, Fernando, I appreciate you sharing our time with us, and we wish you the best of luck with your company as it projects forward. And we always know that you can go back to your second career as a classical guitarist. So
Exactly.
thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I really enjoyed this time.